Mother bought one.
There's a few of them.
I know her.
I remember when he was
We would be
Sisters are all there. Someone.
okay. Unusual.
No, the host can run.
Yeah, there is in a little
25.
The king.
There's a funeral in Mum want to go to it, ask her.
Studying at the moment, so I said, fine, he can go then.
Right.
So much,
that was definitely
see her running.
That's the marquee.
Hours.
And that must be
Kim
inside.
knew he was asleep on the couch and she was put up with it. It was so funny.
Oh, they're sorry.
Yeah, leave them at the front door, step it down. I'll remind you.
I meant to talk or not.
Is that she was
Oh, she's got 229 on sale.
we don't
Yeah.
have him.
But everything else is
Is it that? So it's lost weight. Oh! Here's George.
she's the here and then
Very good on
Dan Morris. Dan Stay down the bottom left. Very bottom left.
I think there's two tips.
You might have put it back
We're at 45, 46 trains. Trains for double. About the marriage. I guess probably there's some. That's it?
Yeah, I
He died. She posted a picture of him always really well. And my sisters are like, he her. She's probably just a bit like on drugs and stuff at the moment. So I'm like, no, I think it's true.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. I'm towards the end.
Making colours.
Oh, they're all the camera free ones.
That's all 3 pages now. What camera's that? And then 67. Any of it?
271.
Average answer.
If you're all on that monthly.
Your phone will. Everybody on there now, she's sitting out. How many people that's in?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
One of the daughters.
Carol and Helen, do they know?
Remember, you lost that. Too late now.
Francis? Well, they finally ended up with a car. Francis, it's Gwen.
Hi Gwen, how are you?
Be good. Yourself?
Thank you. Thank you.
Got it.
Over there on the chair. Losing my mind.
Okay, well, I hear that a few
Half my day.
just about to start here this year.
297 people on the
It's now from New York, see, Maria.
John, how are you?
Made a lot. And Louis is there too.
We only met them briefly.
You got Helen in the last.
Yeah, she left for training Helen.
Because I love it there as well.
Over there.
Many in there.
The voice out of your mouth.
Giving answers and preaching good news. Good every night.
Okay.
Hi, Brother Steve. Steve Collins.
That came up to that night. Richard Dunning on Morris Gordon and
Long time no see, Brother Steve.
Hi, Helen. Yeah, it's Shona today.
Nice to see you.
Because she was very good.
That would drive you to distress.
Dealing with changes, like all the trials have just begun. Growing anxious from all of your fears. Talk to God, He always listens. And as you get wiser, find the ways you can apply the truth in your life. Feel the joy of sacrifice. And as you get taller, smarter, trying to work harder, never let go of Jehovah. The best is still in store. You have a treasured place in Jehovah's house. He'll help you out. And you have so much to offer, so much to do. Jehovah sees your faith, no, He treasures you. So use your strength for Jehovah's name. You won't regret it. Just ask the ones who did it.
Chris, I'm going to introduce myself.
You have the treasured place in Jehovah's house. He'll help you out. And you have so much to offer, so much to do. Jehovah sees your faith, no, He treasures you.
We can start now. Ko Ngāti ngā here taku hapu, ko terere taku marae, ko whakatoia taku iwi, ko mā tātua taku waka, ko Harry Delamere hau e tū nei nei. Nau mai haramai whānau, tō aroha kia Alan and taku a whaia a Shona. Nau mai haramai, tō aroha, kia mātou te whānau. I nui taku aroha, taku whānau, nā mihi a tātou, I tēnei rā whānau, nā mihi a tātou, I tēnei rā, nā mihi te aroha, kia tātou, a whānau, nā mihi, nui nā mihi, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Yeah, I just got a little kōrero from Uncle Alan about the Wi-Fi. Could you turn your Bluetooth off? That's right, eh, Uncle? Oh, the Wi-Fi. Sorry. If they're on your Wi-Fi, sorry. So, yeah. Oh, no idea, eh? So, I'm going to welcome you here today, family and friends, both live here and on Zoom. I'll just put my colours on, can't see. Thank you very much for joining us today. Shona's passing has left a huge hole in many of our lives. Shona was a devoted Jehovah's Witness and also Alan. We would like to ask whānau and friends, be respectful of their beliefs. No calling, no hakas, no karakia, or speaking out of assignment. This is out of respect, out of respect to cultures and individual beliefs, but out of respect for their faith. I'd like to also welcome Brian Dunbar for coming all the way from Palmerston North. Oh no, Masterton. Sorry, to conduct the service. Yeah, kia ora whānau. Please bear with me. This is my first time for doing this. Oh no, bad. So again, I'd like to welcome you here today, and for supporting the family, Alan and Takawhaya, Shona. Yes, for bringing your aroha and your love for the family. Yeah, so it's an awesome thing for you for bringing you all here today. Also, I want to acknowledge just 3 wahine tours. I've just got these beautiful ladies that are behind the scenes. First one is I want to mihi to is Paia. She does so much work behind the scenes, especially for Uncle Alan, because Uncle was talking about her the other day. And say she's just like like my mother, telling me to go to bed when he, so yeah, just acknowledge to Paia for all the mahi she does. Also, another one who does a lot of mahi behind the scenes is this one here, Tina. I just want to mihi to her, all the lovely cooking she's been doing, dinners and that to support the family, and awesome. So another one more. I got one more wahine tour, and it's my daughter, Arihia Patricia Maturo Harawera. Just the mahi she's done for auntie and uncle over this, more or less years. And we used to have this, for my daughter, I had this competition. For me, it was a competition when we heard auntie when she was sick, first time being sick and going to the hospital. For me, I was just, take over and, auntie's in hospital, I'm going to beat Ari. Take you and walk in the room. Yeah, I won. Get into the room, and this is my big girl out of here. Already, going through the meds and all this and meds. And I say, yeah, I couldn't beat her. You know why? Because she worked at the hospital. So yeah, just acknowledge my big daughter. Yeah, that's what else is there, guys? I want to thank you again. I welcome you all here again. And I really appreciate you being here, for the love and kindness you're showing for the family, Uncle Alan, and Takawhaya, Shona Armstrong. So thank you very much. And kia ora tātou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora. Waiata, where's my manus? I'll sing my own waiata. They're not even here. Okay. Ko koe he manu rere no I te rangi e, ka rere mai ki unga iau, te whakanaha koe. Te ahara te kōrero, te ahara te mahi. Nā me kato e pai nei, nā tūnau e. Rere no e manu rere, sunga rarupi. Whakapiri tātou ki te reo, karanga mai. O mai toa roha I ngā wakatoa, maku koe arahi, a whina tiara. A na tia ko hine hine. So that Waiata's from Ngātira, where Auntie's from, Humarai, Waiweka. So this is the European version. The translation. Sorry. Sorry. You are just a wild bird flying in the silver sky. I'm a tree that waits for you to let you rest a while. Never knowing what to say or knowing what to do. All the good things in my life are just a part of you. So sweet little wild bird, won't you sing a song for me? Together we shall sing a perfect tune and harmony. And if you say you love me in the winter, you and I will teach you how to walk. You'll teach me how to fly. Fly. Natita. Thank you very much, whānau. Tēnā koutou. All right. Yeah, thank you. My name is Brian Dunbar. My wife's name is Natu, and we have been friends with Shona 50 years and 6 weeks. I can do it precisely because Natu's friendship with Shona began the day, where is he? Corey was born. Natu went up to the hospital to see this Jehovah's Witness who was in the hospital that we didn't know about because Marston is so small, and discovered that we had a new sister. The friendship then developed, and so you're going to get a rambling conversation from me as we try to remember 50 years, don't add to it, 50 years of friendship. Now, Shona was born in Portuguese, 1948 in September. She, even then, well, eventually, helped look after the rest of the family. 12 of them, apparently. So Shona was busy doing that. The things that sort of come along as you listen to Shona and listen to Faye is that the work that entailed weeding the gardens, cleaning the nets, cleaning the fish. When Shona finished schooling, she couldn't read, she couldn't write. Mostly because she was hardly ever there. It's helping with the family. So she went to work as a cleaner in the hospital. But there must have been something about her, and we all know what it was because we know her. She has a deep streak of compassion for people. And when you're working in a hospital, even as a cleaner, this comes through. And it came through so much in Shona that one of the doctors who was watching her said, "You should be a nurse." And she said, "I can't read. I can't write. So I can't do your exams." So he says, "We'll work with that." And so as the time went on for her training, he taught her to read, taught her to write, but also did all the exams orally. So she didn't have to write it out. She didn't have to put thoughts on paper. She could just explain. And we know Shona. She's a straight thinker, clear lines, understands what needs to be done. And if you've seen her working in a nursing capacity, don't get in her road, because she knows what she's doing and can get on with it. Just a lovely footnote to what that doctor did for Shona is that decades later, when Alan and Shona had their rest home, they were able to look after him and to care for him. So you see that synergy that seems to be there. And as I was dealing with this and trying to think of the different things, this kept coming through. And as we discussed it this afternoon, you'll see just what I mean. Once she finished her training, there was a handsome Maori boy turned up, name of Ken Hudson. Said, let me take you away from here to Singapore. So they did. Off they went. But they didn't go to the army barracks. They lived on what's called Civi Street. Shona turned up, a young bride, and here's all these Chinese people standing outside. And she says to Ken, what's going on? Says, oh, you've got to choose a gardener, you've got to choose a nurse, you've got to choose a housekeeper, and it's your job, it's not mine. So, new housekeeping jobs. And here's where we see two qualities of Shona come through. As she was looking at all these girls who are wanting to come and be employed, she recognized that what she'd heard about army situations is that if you have a beautiful cleaner, beautiful housekeeper, the husband often notices. So she was wise. She looked for the oldest one and employed that one. Smart girl. But then her other quality comes through. After some time, the woman, what's her name, Daima, got sick. Now, usually that means, okay, I'll get somebody else. Not our Shona. She said, I'm a nurse. I'll help you. I'll help you get better. And the whole situation and the whole community knew what Shona was doing. It was so out of the norm for that time period. She nursed her housekeeper back to health, much to the surprise of all those who were there at the time. Now, when we met Shona, it was in Masterton. Ken had been reassigned to Masterton. He was caring for the army situation there, recruitment and things like that. And as we say, Natu had met Shona. They became very good friends. Oh, very good friends. And Ken and I just had to put up with it. What are you doing? I don't know. What are you doing? Let's go to golf. All right. Can you put a cup of tea on before you go, boys? Yes. We had to look after them. And that's really what Ken and I used to do. We'd go to the recruitment centre, play pool, do something, and then come back, and we'll be still talking. And that's really what it's been like. A few years of our friendship, Ken died. He was killed in Waiouru in a training accident. And this was a pretty dark time for Shona, as you can imagine. And we were there with her, and she really became an integral part of our family during that time. So much so that I came home from work one day, cold house, no wife, no kids. So I rang my mother-in-law. Is Natu around there? No, haven't seen her all day. Rang my sister-in-law. Natu there? No, haven't seen her all day. Phone call. It's Natu. Hi, love. Hi. I'm with Shona. Oh, you're around at Shona's place? No, I'm with Shona. Shona wanted to go to a potiki, so I jumped in the car and we've gone to a potiki. Fish and chips for tea that night, believe me. But that's what the friendship has been like. As I say, the intertwining of things.
Shona moved from Marsden to Apotiki, and the friendship was still there. One day we got a phone call, and it wasn't for me. It was for Natu. Natu there? Yes, Shona, okay. I found somebody. Who? His name is Alan Armstrong. Alan's mum and dad brought Natu's mum and dad into the truth. We knew the family well. It's synergy, you know what we're talking about? All these things that are happening. And so we had a whole new family, a new man we had to let into the friendship, but he was already there, so it didn't really matter very much, because we'd be doing the same things. What do you want to do? Golf? Okay. I'll tell you something about when Natu and Shona got together. They would start talking from the time the car pulled up. And they'd sit down at the table and they would talk and talk and talk. And eventually they told me 3 rules. 3 rules, Brian. Just keep the 3 rules. Yes, dear. Just keep the tea coming. Cup of tea every now and again. Just keep it coming. Make sure the meal's on time. Yes, dear. And don't interrupt. We're talking. One time I came in there and there was a real fight going on between Natu and Shona. And Alan and I both, hey. What happened? They both turned on us. Leave us alone. We're having fun. Oh, great. That's man-woman. We just don't understand. So you just don't go there. The situation now was that Alan brought to the marriage his 2 children, Jeff and Linda, and Corey and Luana. So they had his and hers. So then they had a theirs, Caleb. And yesterday we sat down with the family, with Faye and with the 3 siblings, young Hannah, her granddaughter, and Alan, and just talked about Mum and how they felt, and, you know, the hurt that they were going through. But in the conversation with the children, what came through, and I say children advisedly because they're adults now, Corey is a granddad, so, you know, but I'm old, so they're kids. I remember them when they were kids. But what came through in our conversation was they too saw Mum's compassion for people. Sometimes it annoyed them because they had things they wanted to say and do, and Mum was just being that Shona that we know, all-encompassing for people. But as they looked back, all that came through in their conversations and the things they said was their pride in their mother, that she was that type of person, that she was one who would give of herself, one who was strong, wanting to help others. And so it was that we had a lovely afternoon in such a tragic situation. In January, Shona and Alan rang Natu and I, gave us the news that what was happening with Shona. And then she asked me to do this. So you can appreciate it was very mixed emotions, deep sadness that this was happening, but also a recognition of what a lovely privilege she was offering to me to be able to speak to you on her behalf. When you've been friends for so long, there's memories that keep flooding in. You know, I remember Boxing Day, 1976. Most of you weren't even alive in 76. 1976, Shona, Luana was, she was there. We'd arranged to meet at the lake in Taupo. Alan and Shona, late, come in, and we were going swimming. They come in their suits. What have you guys been doing? Oh, we got married. Boxing Day. How could you do that? we know somebody. And they were married. That was where it all started for those two. We spoke about Ellen, Shona's compassion, and in her nursing, you saw it. In her dealings, you'd have felt it, your family, your whānau. I've watched you over the last couple of days, and over the years I've seen you. And I see the same qualities in many of the sisters. And in Faye, it's there. But when she married Alan, he too had this quality. And so you see it bounced off each other and went to a degree that it's unusual to see in a couple. And it was lovely as friends of theirs to watch it, to be able to see how they handle situations and how they always seem to go that extra mile. They put up that business in Thornton Park. Many of you may remember it. But they always seem to go that little bit extra. They got the camper van to look after the different ones who are in the home, so they could take them on trips, do things for them. You know, most nursing homes will have a van and take you out for the day. These two would take the people away for days and weeks, doing that extra thing just because of their compassion. The compassionate quality was also a mark of their faith in Jehovah. Now, your whānau especially, Shona would have talked to you about her faith. I haven't met all of you, but I've met Shona. And she would not have missed an opportunity to tell you about what she'd learned. So let's just spend a few moments, and I mean just a few moments, about talking about how Shona got her faith. She actually got it from Faye. Because Faye was starting to study and to look into the Bible. And Shona would come in at the day and say, "What'd you learn today?" And she'd be told, "Okay, well, what about this? I'll ask." But this was the time when Shona was going to Singapore. So Faye arranged for someone in Singapore to call on Shona and to have a Bible study. And that's how it happened. She met Sister Ding, is that right, Alan? Yes. And Sister Ding studied with her. Now, we talked about this synergy. I'm not going to tell you this story. It's Alan's story. If you want to hear it, go and talk to him. Because Alan doing something out of the ordinary for somebody else, that synergy just turned around 40 years later and just exploded into Shona and Alan's family. Totally unexpected, but there it was. Sometime this afternoon, somebody here is going to say, "It's a lovely afternoon. Shona would have really enjoyed this." And Shona knew that when she got sick. That's why she had two parties, to make sure that she got this sort of thing. And if you're at either of those parties, the whānau one that was here or the one that was in town, you know what I mean. The things that Shona learns that she would have shared with you are simple things. The name of the true God, Jehovah. It's in the Bible. She learned that very early. Why people grow old and die, the Bible explains. What death is, truly what death is. The Bible explains death is just going to sleep. You're not anywhere, you don't know anything. An example, perhaps, if you've had a serious operation, you're put to sleep, you wake up, the operation's over, and you've got scars all over your body, but you don't know what's happened to you. You've been asleep. Well, that's death, and that's what you learned. Just one of the things that I really do want to emphasize, if I can find my note on it, is what you all saw when you sat with Shona. Thanks for coming to visit me. Thank you all for your support that you gave to me and to my family. See you in the new world when Jehovah awakens me. lots of love. This is the area that I really want to get a little bit serious about and to make sure you understand just what Shona was talking about. What Shona was talking about when God awakens me is the resurrection. It's a central Bible doctrine. And what it basically means is a standing back to life. It means that a person who has died and gone to sleep, that one day will be awakened and stand back, be back with us, as he was, or she was, as Shona was. That's what she's looking forward to. But is it real? Is this expectation of having a resurrection something like Shona did? She's lived her life firmly believing in it. Often when we'd have these conversations, it would be about these different aspects. So let me just share with you the travel through the Bible very quickly of the resurrection. The first inclination of it was when Jehovah asked Abraham to kill his son, to sacrifice his son. Now, all the promises that Abraham had been given were wrapped up in Isaac, his son. He reckoned that God would be able to resurrect him. So, fine. He didn't need to do that because he didn't have to kill him. In the book of Job, so we're coming down through the time, Job was very, very sick. And Job chapter 14, he says, "Oh, that in the grave you would conceal me, that you would hide me until your anger passes by, that you would set a time limit for me and remember me." Now notice what he's asking for. He's saying, hide me or conceal me in the grave. Hide me till your anger passes by, set a time limit, and remember me. Then he says, if a man dies, can he live again? I will wait all the days of Jesus. They were not afraid. Why not? Because the resurrection is real. So when Shona said, be there when I wake up, she wasn't talking about some random thought. She was talking about something that was real. She believed in the resurrection. She went to her death knowing about the resurrection. Just one other scripture dealing with the resurrection. It's in the book of Revelation. Chapter 21. Verse 4, first of all. And he'll wipe out every tear from their eyes, and death will be no more. Neither mourning nor eye cry nor pain be any more. The former things have passed away. So this is future, but you notice what he says. Death will be no more. He'll wipe out every tear from their eyes. There's been a lot of tears shed about Shona. Days like this will never be again. But then he said something else in verse 5. And this was for us. Verse 5, he said at the end, write, for these words are faithful and true. It's not some figment of imagination. It is real. Shona will be back. The resurrection is real. Shona died with a deep and abiding faith that she will be back. And she left us a gift. The gift is today. In the book of Ecclesiastes, it tells us in chapter 7, it is better for us to go to the house of mourning than it is to go to the house of feasting. Now you think, come on, you've got to get that right. Party's much better than anything else. The gift Shona left is this time now. Because all of us are busy. All of us have lives that will go on after today. So this time that Shona has given us when we've come together in our grief and to share it is for us to examine ourselves, to see what are we going to do? If this resurrection is real, what is my relationship with my Heavenly Father? What is my relationship with God? That's the gift she's given to us. The one thing we haven't dealt with in all of this discussion is, how does God feel about this? Well, that scripture we read in Job chapter 14, in verse 15, it says, "You will call and I will answer you." Then it says, "You will long for the work of your hands." You will long. Now, Alan is my friend, and I know he's longing to have Shona back with him. If it could be today, he'd love it. And I'm sure all of you would share in that. But whilst you can long as much as you like, you have no power to be able to make this happen. But the Creator has. He longs for Shona too. He longs for all those who've died. And he wants to bring them back, but in his own time, when he has changed what's happening on our earth. You look at our earth at the moment, you just watch the news, and it's being ruined. Mankind, selfish, killing one another. Jehovah wants to transform this earth into a paradise. That was his original purpose. And when he does that, that's when he'll bring the resurrection about. And what's going to happen is this. He will call, "Shona, come on out." And Shona will come out. First thing she'll ask is, "Where's Alan?" But who will she ask for next? And will you be there? Right. For these words are faithful and true. We're going to sing a song now that's based on that scripture, "He will call." If you've got a songbook, it's song 151. After which, Liz will lead us in prayer, and then it's Alan's turn.
Jehovah God, our Creator, our Sovereign and our Father, please be with Alan because he's lost his beloved wife. Be with Faye because she's lost another child. And be with Alan and Shona's children and grandchildren. And be with Shona's brothers and sisters and also all their friends. We've listened to the clarity and the power and the promise of the resurrection hope. And we think about the way Shona faced death. She did it with courage, dignity, openness against our greatest enemy because she believed implicitly in what has been explained in the resurrection account we've just heard. And we're all sad because death is an enemy. And we're here because we love Shona and Alan, but we're here also to think about our own lives, to reset our daily lives, to pause and reflect and get closer to you, Jehovah, our Creator. And as the days and months go by, we share a community combined responsibility to look after Alan and Faye and their family over the next weeks and months as they reset their compasses of life without Shona. Because Shona will cast a big shadow, a big positive shadow, and she affected their lives in a positive way. So we as a group of people from all sorts of backgrounds, we've got one thing in common with them. We love Shona and Alan, and we want to be a guidance for them in the days to come. And please may your spirit rest heavily on today, that we can show the honor and dignity that Shona would want us to do on this special day, even though it's a sad day. And we thank you for everything, and we do so through your dear Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. I'd like Alan to come forth.
Thank you, everybody, for being here today. Thank everybody for the support and the love that we've been shown. It's just been amazing. It's been humbling. And I especially, like Les mentioned in that prayer, I'm thinking of Mum here. She had 12 children, and Shona's the 5th one to have died. So Mum is grieving sadly too. There's a Bible scripture in Proverbs 31:10, and it says, "Who can find a capable wife? Her value is far more than that of corals." And I always used to call my Shona my P31, because Proverbs 31 goes on to describe the qualities that good wives have, and Shona certainly had those qualities. What was it that attracted to me in the first instance? Yeah, it was the looks. But I found out very, very quickly what was inside that beautiful exterior. I could talk for hours and not tell you a fraction of what I could say about my amazing wife of the last 45 years. But I want you to have a little look at the brochure you've got for the program today. What do you think is the most important thing on that brochure? And I had them printed with it a little bit longer than you would on most brochures, and that's the dash. That's the dash between when Shona was born and when she died. All of us have got a dash like that, but all of those here, it hasn't got an end yet. What do we do with that dash? What do we do with our lives? The two favourite women in my life were Shona and my mother. I've got a lot of favourite women, but they were the two most favourites. And they were both nurses. I've always loved nurses, because to be a nurse you have to be caring, you have to have an interest and a love in other people. But this dash of Shona's was 73 years long. It's straight on the program, but in reality it symbolises Shona's life. And there were soft spots, there were hard spots, there was hills, there was gully, there was laughter and sadness. There was important things and trivial things along that dash, a lot of twists and a lot of turns, smooth and rocky sections. Shona had a very hard upbringing. And there were some awful years we're not going to talk about at all. But unlike many others, she didn't let those years scar her. Rather, it strengthened and it refined her. In the late 60s, Shona fell in love with Ken, married him. I never met Ken. He was killed in a grenade accident in 1974, and he was awarded the George Cross posthumously. Shona loved him dearly and was broken with his death. But this has meant that Shona has had privileges awarded by the Victoria and George Cross Association, including such things as being invited several times to have afternoon with the Queen and her mother when she was alive at Buckingham Palace. Shona, of course, never did take the offer, but the association has been very supportive in other ways. There's some terrible, terrible tragedies happened. Shona's first husband, Ken's death was one of those tragedies, but tragedies in life often do have a silver lining. And Caleb, Shona and my son, drove this home when he said, "Mum, I'm so sorry about what happened with Ken, but I wouldn't be here if you hadn't met Dad." So there is a sort of a silver lining to even a tragic thing like that. From the early 1970s, Shona's line started to merge with another line, and that's the line Matthew 7:14 calls the narrow and cramped road leading to life. That's when Shona became one of Jehovah's people. I'd been on that road for a long time before that. But in 1976, Shona joined me on this narrow, cramped road. So the last 2/3 of that dash on your program, we've travelled together. And life, it's been a happy, fulfilling life. We've been together as, I believe, a good team. She was never scholastic. And as Brian mentioned, when she left school, she couldn't even write and read. It improved a lot when she became one of Jehovah's people because we do a lot of reading and writing. But Shona was one of the most amazing readers of character that I have ever known. We had some really beautiful chapters in our lives. Thornton Park, the nursing home, was one. We had no money, but we had a dream. And a Hamilton couple, Sue and Gary Catley, helped us make that dream come true. And it was a good chapter of our lives. When we broke a lot of ground there, Shona and I, we were the very first nursing home in New Zealand ever to get government funding for all ages and disabilities. There was quite a little bit it was an interesting chapter of our lives. But we were always very aware of the truth and always stayed close to Jehovah right through those years. Shona always liked things to be done in her way. And I learned to my charge, and she was usually right. I'm just going to tell you a little weird experience. Those of you that are Jehovah's Witnesses will know what I mean exactly. We have what we call a ministry school, where we are taught to be able to speak, to be able to reason with people, and generally, so our ministry is a little bit more effective. And the very first student talk, and we have counsel. We have what we call a ministry school overseer, and when we give a little talk, he'll suggest that we maybe need to be a little bit more this, a little bit more that. So the very first student talk that Shona had, the counsellor was a brother that we know well. I don't know if he's on Zoom or here, Randall Harmon. And he gave Shona her nice, loving counsel at the end, but Shona stood up. She said, "Well, I wouldn't have done it that way. I like the way I did it better." And so, so that was my Shona. That was my Shona. I was going to talk about Toe, Brian. That was the name of the servant that they had to hire in Singapore. It wasn't in Shona and Ken's nature to hire a servant, but that was the way that Singapore was in that day. Singapore used to be a third world country then, and the servicemen that went with their wives were actually expected to employ somebody local. And I always remember that story and thought, yeah, she read characters right. Yeah. Her best mate in Singapore, Sarah Blue, she's here somewhere today. Shona also was very, very sporty. She actually represented Singapore playing badminton. She was coached by a Malay and represented the country playing badminton. And she also got right up to the New Zealand selection for the New Zealand squad of netball. So she was very, very sporty. I hated playing her at anything because she beat me at almost everything. But anyway, that's really. I want to also mention Mel. Mel is a very, very, very dear friend of ours who is dying with cancer. She's in, Mel, you're probably listening on Zoom. She's in a Portuguese. And Mel and Shona used to joke with each other who was going to win the race. Well, Shona won it. I rang Mel and said, look, Shona was all very athletic and she won the race, girl. So Mel is broken. Mel is sad. So anyway, that's all I want to talk to you about. But Harry's introduction, I really appreciated your wairata, Harry. And I'm going to sing one of my own. Yeah. I've stolen the song from a namesake, Louis Armstrong, but I've twisted the words around. So, can I please have some musical backing? I can't do it on my own. Harry's on his own. How do we start? I'll start singing. I saw a beautiful face and a great body too. I thought to myself, baby, I could love you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful girl. I saw large, smiling brown eyes looking straight into mine. And I say to myself, what a wonderful girl. Say to myself, what a wonderful girl. Her soft purring voice just tinkled in my ear. I knew from that minute I'd always want her near. She looked at me, she said, you will do. She was really saying, I love you. But Shona and I became a loving pair. We developed a love so very, very rare. And we said to ourselves, what a wonderful world. To the future, with Shona as my wife, we could enjoy forever this precious gift of life. But cancer came along and took this gift away. So now I look ahead to a future sunny day. We see all humankind united as one, serving Jehovah and praising his Son. Then we shout out loud, what a wonderful world. Love upon all faces, so beautiful to see. The paradise around us is here for her and me. Jehovah's name respected, his promises come true. Shona's back beside me, she's pretty as can be. Jehovah, what we're saying is we love you. Yes, we say to ourselves, what a wonderful world. Thank you, folks. What we're going to do is just mingle around. The guys are going to give us a bit of music. What else is supposed to be on the program? Oh, food. Yeah. We've got, over here we've got the caterers, but we're just going to have a little bit of music played. We can wander around, talk to each other, tell a few experiences. And I can see somebody shaking their heads. No? Oh, yeah, I'm getting to that. About 4-ish, before we start eating any food, we're gonna take Mum and put her in the wagon over here, and she's going back to the funeral parlour. We don't want to break this up and go to the crematorium, and they're going to keep her, and family and close friends, or anybody that really wants, but mainly family and close friends, are very welcome. On Monday, she's going to be cremated. So enjoy yourselves now, please. That's the end of this official program. I think, isn't it?
Well, that's the first time I've heard Al sing it.